Black history has consistently been shoved aside, reduced, underplayed, and underestimated for political reasons. Now, that same history has been restricted across at least 13 states in the country in an attempt to completely ban it from school. This means fewer people will learn about the struggles and harsh truth Black people have endured to get basic rights, as well as the many contributions they have made throughout history. As long as this history is banned in schools, children, especially Black children, won't learn the truth about their ancestors, and this unawareness might have major implications on the future. Will they know how great their ancestors were? Will they understand the hardship these ancestors have endured? And will they recognize the struggles and inequality that are still evident to this day? One of the major struggles Black people faced was lynching, which started in the late 19th century to the early 20th century, right after slavery was abolished. In a bid for white people to maintain control and uphold white supremacist ideas that deluded them into believing they were better based on their skin color, they occasionally lynched Black people. They could not just take one person and lynch him or her, so they would accuse them, most of the time wrongly, and gather in their numbers to beat and burn them alive. This often included children. It is stated that from 1882 to 1968, over 4,500 people were lynched. However, historians believe the number is underreported. Over 72% of the people lynched during this period were Blacks. The remaining percentage were immigrants of other races, or white people who were against these white supremacist ideas. One of the most baffling things about this situation is that these white people went in their best clothes to watch these lynchings. It was a thing of joy for them to watch these people suffer. You would assume that eventually they would move past those ideas, but it seemed like they weren't getting any closer to correcting their white supremacist mentality. A prime example is the Tulsa Massacre in 1921, which is still one of the most underreported and most devastating race massacres in the history of America. It all began on May 30th, 1921, when a 19-year-old Black shoe shiner named Dick Rowland entered an elevator at Drexel Building. The elevator operator was a white 17-year-old girl named Sarah Page. It is said that Dick tripped and grabbed onto the arm of Sarah while trying to catch his fall. She screamed, and he ran away. The next day, the police arrested Rowland, and rumors that he had sexually harassed Sarah Page were spreading quickly. What made it even worse was that a local newspaper called the Tulsa Tribune carried the rumors on the front page of their paper. In the evening of May 31st, 1921, while Rowland was in the courtroom, a group of white men entered with the intention to lynch him. However, the sheriff sent them away. When the Black community of Tulsa heard about the rumors of lynching, a group of Black men, including World War I veterans, gathered and armed themselves to protect Rowland. Yet, they were turned away by the sheriff as well. As the situation got worse, they went back to the courtroom to offer their help for a second time. However, when they got there, it was surrounded by approximately 1,500 angry white men carrying weapons. A fight broke out, and shots were fired. The Black group was terribly outnumbered, so they retreated back to their neighborhood Greenwood. Greenwood was a thriving Black neighborhood filled with Black-owned businesses, often called the Black Wall Street. But soon after the riot erupted at the courthouse, this flourishing area was laid in ashes by the white mob. On June 1st, this white mob burned and looted houses and businesses that covered an area of 35 city blocks. Over 1,256 houses were burnt and more than 215 businesses were looted. Schools, hospitals, churches, hotels, stores, a library, and many Black-owned businesses were destroyed. The shocking thing is that some of these white people were given weapons by city officials. These officials feared that Black communities in different states were planning a large-scale insurrection. Eventually, all charges against Dick Rowland were dropped, and the police said he likely just stepped on Sarah Page's foot. He left Oklahoma and never returned. All this violence was for absolutely nothing. To make this situation even more shocking, no news platform carried the events of that day or created a memorial for the innocent Black people killed. The only thing that occurred was the Tulsa Tribune taking down the news of Rowland that they had shared on May 31st, which had started all this violence. The Tulsa Massacre was certainly not the only mass racial killing that happened. There were many before and after, like the Colfax Massacre in 1873, the Atlanta Race Massacre in 1906, and the Rosewood Massacre in 1923, just to name a few. So what are the arguments against Black history being taught in school? Knowing how much violence Black people have faced over the years due to white supremacy, the people who want Black history banned can't afford for their children to learn about these things. The movement in opposition to teaching Black history in schools uses two excuses: wokeism and critical race theory. According to these people in power, if they play the wokeism card, it fires up conservatives with a majorly white base, who would do anything to ensure black people never get a chance to enter certain positions of power. In doing so, they can distract people from the real issues, like their failure to adjust tax laws for middle-class families or making healthcare affordable. It would also distract people from fighting for better gun laws, despite the occasional school shootings. Coming to the topic of critical race theory, Black history is a scary subject for many white supremacists. If they can ban the study of Black history, more Black people would move away from positions of power as they would have no reason to fight. Critical race theory is an academic concept that says that racism is embedded in society and the justice system. The theory shows that racism is systematic in various rules and laws, making evident that it isn't just a product of personal bias. If Black people don't learn about their history, they won't understand how systematic racism works and won't see a reason to vote. If they don't vote, they get whomever white supremacists select, and their rights could get taken away in a second. America was built on the exploitation of slave labor. If African American studies remain banned in schools, it will be harder for Black people to make a change against the ideas of white supremacists. The struggles and hardship we currently endure will continue, and there will be no justice. If you want to learn more about Black history and culture, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Make sure to leave a comment about your thoughts regarding this topic. What do you think can be done to avoid Black history being forgotten? To all our ancestors that were killed unjustly, we hope they rest easy and their sacrifices won't be in vain.